Tonight at 6 on TV2, voter registration deadline is so close and Kent State put an event together to motivate students to be part of the election process. What do students think about these efforts?
And have you ever been ticketed by parking services? TV2 has a behind-the-scenes look at parking services and all of the things they do for Kent State students.
With tension growing between Israel and Palestine, the U.S. had a response. What Americans are doing and why.
And while fall break may have ended, today is an important national holiday. How people around the country are celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day.
This is TV2 News.
Good Monday evening, Portage County, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nuried Hurtado.
And I'm Rowe.
We start our coverage tonight with the Kent State Boats Festival hosted by USG to motivate students to register to vote.
Our reporter Skylar Edington has more on the story. Hi, Skylar.
That's right, guys. With voter registration deadline tomorrow, Kent State hosted one last event hoping to get as many students to sign up as possible.
This is Flash's Votes Festival, our second one, and basically we're getting students registered to vote and figuring out how they're going to vote in November, whether that's absentee ballot or how they're going to get transportation to the polls.
The Flash's Vote Festival had several booths on the K, each attracting groups of students. One booth had a button maker where students could design their own and then show it off to their friends. I had the chance to speak with the Black United Students organization who are encouraging students to vote.
So Black United Students aims to represent and advocate for Black students and marginalized students on this campus. I would say we've been at the forefront of a lot of the movements that have happened on this campus since then. And so that's kind of like what Black United Students' legacy has been ever since.
Students have several reasons why they decided to come to the event and why they decided to register to vote.
And I think it's just really important for especially college students and young people to get out the vote.
Kent State's mascot Flash even made an appearance at the event encouraging students to vote.
This is just one of many signs that students made showing why they decided to register to vote. Remember that tomorrow, October 10th, is the last day to register.
If you have not yet registered, you only have a few hours remaining, so be sure to get signed up as soon as possible. Reporting for TV2, I'm Skylar Edington. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Skylar. And as Kent State motivates students to register for voting, the deadline to register is tomorrow and early voting starts on Wednesday. To check your voter registration, go to voteohio.gov or call your county board of elections. You can also update your voter information or register to vote at the same website. The November ballot would decide on Issue 1, a constitutional amendment on reproduction rights, and Issue 2, a constitutional amendment on recreational marijuana.
Protesters took to the streets in Akron yesterday to voice their support for abortion rights. This rally happened after a Right to Life protest took place in Columbus on Friday. Doctors, members of the ACLU, and members of Planned Parenthood, as well as people from across the state, came to protest in Akron. Speakers took to the stage to share their stories, and the final words came from a 10-year-old girl who expressed her concerns in regards to abortion.
With Issue 2 on the ballot, opponents of legalizing marijuana argue it will lead to more crash injuries and deaths in Ohio. Protect Ohio Workers and Families, the opposition to marijuana legislation, predicts Ohio would see an additional 48 fatal vehicle crashes and almost 2,300 more injury crashes if voters approve Issue 2.
The Buckeye Institute, an Ohio conservative think tank, has quietly become one of the most prominent players shaping the U.S. Supreme Court's agenda. For its session that started in the beginning of the month, the group came in second for the number of cases accepted by organizations that filed amicus briefs. The Buckeye Institute takes on cases that they say involve government overreach, as well as cases that protect citizens' personal freedoms.
Good afternoon, Kent State and Portage County. I'm Nicholas Keller with your Monday weather forecast. Kicking it off, we have currently in Kent 52 degrees with it feeling like 59. Dew point is at 36 degrees. Wind is going west at 8 miles per hour. Humidity is at 54% and visibility is at 10 miles. Tomorrow we're going to have 57 degrees with the wind going west-southwest at 12 miles per hour. So it's going to be a little bit of higher winds tomorrow. We're going to have partly cloudy skies with high winds going 10 to 15 miles per hour, and the sunset will be at 6:52 p.m. Now for hour-by-hour forecast. 8 p.m. tonight, we have partly cloudy skies with it being 48 degrees. Midnight, we'll have it being 44 degrees with partly cloudy skies. And 8 a.m. tomorrow, we'll be having partly cloudy skies with 40 degrees. That's all I have for now, but be sure to stick around for the rest of your Monday forecast.
Thank you, Nick. Now, parking on campus has been a nightmare for many students every semester.
Our correspondent, Brad Steinbrook, talked to students about the issues and how they feel about the parking challenges.
Kent State University is one of the largest public universities in the state of Ohio. With that brings a ton of chaos when it comes to finding parking. That's where the Department of Parking Services comes into play.
I mean, mainly it's to maintain order in the parking lots. I mean, human nature, we all want to go to the closest spot. We all do that.
The Director of Parking Services, Larry Emmeling, tells me on any given day there's 25,000 students and 3,000 staff here on campus, but only about 10,000 available parking spots.
You know, if we didn't control or regulate the lots, everybody's going to go to that closest lot.
Some students around campus criticize the department due to the number of tickets they hand out, and some even think it's a way for the campus to make more money.
I don't know why it matters where you park your car. I feel like it's just a way for them to get more money.
On the other hand, some students are just fine with what the department does.
Yes, for sure, because I pay to the parking pass. I don't need like someone parking in my parking pass without paying anything. Or sometimes when you go to park your car, you see a people like in not good spot. So this is your parking. People always like park and not like parking spot they paid for, or they don't have like parking permit. So it's bad. We need like something, check all the cars, check everything to make sure you are okay because you pay money for it.
Emmeling does say there are about 8 workers patrolling the campus at one time. So if you park somewhere without a permit, there's a good chance you'll find a ticket waiting for you when you get back.
You know, we write a lot of tickets because our lots are not gated. So it's easy to just jump in there for 10 minutes or, you know, say you're there for 10 minutes while you're in class and walk out with the ticket. We're pretty liberal when it comes to reviewing those and voiding them. We look at your whole history, not just that one ticket.
Emmeling did add students are encouraged to take the initiative and reach out to parking services if they do ever happen to have any questions. In Kent State, I'm Brad Steinbrook.
Now, the Ohio House Transportation Committee advanced a measure asserting legislative control over clean air standards last week. Under the Clean Air Act, California can impose higher emission standards than the federal government, but House Bill 201 will prevent local governments and state agencies in Ohio from adopting more restrictive vehicle emission standards.
A 62-year-old woman has passed away after being hit by a car on Thursday in a hit and run. The accident occurred early Thursday morning, and she was pronounced dead on Friday afternoon. Speed was considered a contributing factor to the accident, and Akron police have asked for anyone with information on the driver to come forward. A witness describes the vehicle as a silver SUV.
A 24-year-old woman has been arrested after she was accused of having sex with a 13-year-old. Peyton Shars, who was a social worker for a national group that works with children, was charged with 1 count of sexual conduct with a minor. Court records showed that the boy's mother became suspicious on September 27 when she found text messages on her son's cell phone. Investigators reportedly found videos on the boy's phone, and both admitted to police that they had sex multiple times.
The United States has responded to the conflict that started between Israel and Palestine over the weekend and have begun to provide support for Israel.
Thailand is preparing to evacuate their citizens from Israel. What are the updates and what this means for the citizens?
It's TV2 News, truly Portage County.
Welcome back. The Biden administration is staying in close touch with their Israeli counterparts, and U.S. political leaders are pledging their support for Israel after Hamas fighters on Saturday breached the border from Gaza in a surprise attack left hundreds dead.
Karen Kaifa is in Washington with the latest about these attacks.
After more than 48 hours of fighting, Israel's military says it has retaken control of all communities around Gaza. On the ground, Israeli troops work to secure the breach points where Hamas fighters cross the border.
It's taking us more time as we expected to get things back into a sort of defensive security posture of people coming in and also defending the communities.
While from the air, Israel pounds Gaza with strikes it says are aimed at Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad targets. but scores of women and children have been killed, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry.
We are at war with Hamas, and sadly, there might be people that are involved killed. It won't be intentional, and sadly, Hamas have entrenched themselves in a cynical way within the civilian population.
Disturbing new videos from Hamas's attack on a music festival show the extent of the terror. Fighters shooting at a hostage at close range. A woman is led away. Her fate is unknown. Hamas claims it is holding more than 100 hostages.
But this was a completely different attack that nobody was prepared for, and nobody can ever be prepared for such a thing, I guess.
The unprecedented attack shaking the international community. Two senior officials say the U.S. State and Defense Departments are moving as quickly as they can to deliver weapons to Israel as part of already existing contracts.
President Biden's direction was to make sure that we're providing Israel everything it needs in this moment to deal with the attacks from Hamas.
In Washington, I'm Karen Keefa.
Now in Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine and his wife offered their support to Israel and condemned the Hamas's attack on the country on Saturday. His administration later in the day named the 8th and 9th of October as days of prayer for the people of Israel.
The representative of the 9th District of Ohio, Marcy Kaptur, called the attacks by Hamas unforgivable. Ohio Representative Bob Latta said the United States would continue to support Israel.
Now keeping up with national stories, we have our own correspondent Tyler Schloser to have more about this topic and more.
Thanks, guys. Tonight's topic revolves around the conflict in Israel after missiles were launched on the nation by Palestinian forces. Our first story is on American soil. An anti-Semitic hacking entity recently released a large amount of data from users of genetic testing website 23andMe. This breach was focused on users of Jewish descent and included information such as regional locations, photos, and birth years. This data was obtained not by breaching the website itself, but by using passwords obtained from other data breaches and trying them on 23andMe. Remember to use multiple passwords. In international news regarding the attack, other nations have begun to react. Poland has sent multiple transport planes to evacuate their citizens out of affected areas, as well as members of their special forces to protect them. 268 Polish citizens were forced to free Israel in total. More nations are preparing to follow suit. Thailand has the Royal Air Force on standby for evacuation after 20 of their citizens became casualties in the attacks and 11 others were kidnapped. Over 1,000 Thai citizens have requested evacuation in the aftermath of the attack. Citizens of many other countries are suffering casualties as well, including the U.S. The damage toll is only expected to rise. And that's all for tonight's international news. From KSU's TV2 News, I'm Tyler Schloser, signing off.
Hundreds of people flooded the city street outside of the Israeli consulate in Chicago in support of Palestine. Palestinians in America want to send a message to the United States and Israel. The protesters were asking that the United States does not provide financial or military support to Israel and that they want the freedom for Palestinians. Chicago police have said that the protests have been peaceful.
A day after the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched a surprise attack against Israel, supporters of Israel and the Palestinians held opposing rallies Sunday afternoon in Fort Lauderdale. Many of the protesters waved Israel flags and signs with slogans such as, quote, America stands with Israel and, quote, we will win. The crowd singing the American and Israeli national anthems took over the right lane of Sunrise Boulevard.
And protests continued across the country in L.A. as the Stephen Wise Temple held a vigil for the people who were killed by Hamas in Israel. 9 Americans were among the people killed in the rocket attacks, and more are suspected to be missing or being held hostage. Hundreds were in attendance at the temple for the vigil, and thousands attended online.
Storm 11 approaching, President Joe Biden issued emergency declarations for Guam and Northern Mariana Islands. This authorizes the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to coordinate all disaster relief efforts.
The emergency declarations will also provide assistance for required emergency measures. The storm is expected to make landfall Tuesday and is expected to continue to strengthen to a typhoon before it approaches Guam.
But now here in Kent, we have our own Nicholas Keller to tell us about our weather. What do we have for the rest of the week, Nick?
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to TV2 Weather, so you stay informed before the storm. Let's jump right back in with currently in Northeast Ohio. Currently in Northeast Ohio, we have 55 degrees in Sandusky, 52 degrees in Mansfield, 53 in Worcester, 55 in Cleveland, 50 in Ashtabula, 52 degrees in beautiful Kent, Ohio, 54 degrees in Canton, and 54 degrees in Youngstown. So obviously this is a lot more cooler than it has been recently in the past couple weeks. We're definitely getting the more faller, colder type of weather. Right now, statewide, we have 54 degrees in Akron, 55 degrees in Steubenville, 59 degrees in Athens, 54 degrees in Lima, 59 in Columbus, 60 degrees in Dayton, and 63 degrees in Cincinnati. So they're much more warmer there as they usually are. Now for our 7-day forecast. Tuesday, we have partly cloudy skies with high winds with a high of 57 and a low of 40. Wednesday, we have mostly sunny skies with high of 64, low of 47. Thursday, we have some AM showers with a high of 64 and a low of 48. Friday, we have partly cloudy skies with a high of 67 and a low of 52. Going into the weekend on Saturday, we have showers with a high of 55 and a low of 47. On Sundays, we have more showers, 53 degrees and 46 degrees for the low. Monday, we have 51 degrees for the high, 45 for the low, and some more showers. So we have rain going all the way through the weekend, all the way to Monday. Unfortunately, that's all I have for today, but thank you everyone for watching. As always, I've been Nicholas Keller. Stay groovy, Portage County. Back to you guys at the desk.
Impressive finishes from Kent women's golf to a look ahead at the Cavs and Blue Jackets seasons coming to the starting line. That's next on TV2 Sports.
Tourists are beginning to return to Maui following the devastating fires that ravaged the island at the beginning of August.
Well, hello folks, my name is Patrick Sartor, and from high finishes in golf to a battle on the soccer field, as well as a look ahead at Monday Night Football, let's get the ball rolling on sports in and around Kent. The Kent women's soccer team has the season heading northward after their win over Central Michigan on Sunday by a score of 3-1. Stout defense prevailed in the first 30 minutes of this match, holding the team scoreless. Leading scorer for Kent, Elisa Arthur, started the scoring yet again. Emma Barnett added to the total with a goal of her own, as well as Josie Morgan, who iced the game late, 3-1, the final from Sunday. However, the team will stay at home for another match on Thursday at 7 p.m. The women's golf team experienced the warm weathers of Virginia Beach, contrary to what we've been having this weekend in the Evie Odom Invitational. That warm weather may have been the boost the ladies needed as they outshine near all and place second in the tournament. Leon Tagaki was the star in this one, recorded the lowest score on the final 18 holes of any competitor during the tournament. UCF was the only school to top Kent in the one spot was UCF, finished first and +10. Kent was +15, and Chattanooga coming in third at +20. Kent now heads to Knoxville for the final tournament of the fall. To our area professional sports, teams make their return to play soon. This month, for the Columbus Blue Jackets, they'll be looking to improve off of last year's disappointing campaign. Finishing with a record of 37-38 is simply not what we're looking for from a team who had made the playoffs from 2017 straight through to 2020. Lately, the success is plummeting, but new hope is on the horizon, and the puck will drop for the first time on this Thursday at 7 o'clock in Philadelphia against the Flyers. Contrary for your Cleveland Cavaliers, minimal additions were made this offseason. Meanwhile, teams in the East like Milwaukee Bucks adding great depth and the Boston Celtics making handsome additions, while the Cavs sit back, lay back, following a disappointing ending to a season last year when the lights were too bright. We look for the Cavs to have a playoff run this year deep into the postseason. The season on the hardwood begins Wednesday the 25th in Brooklyn against the Nets. Who could forget about Monday night action from Sin City tonight? The talents of Devontae Adams seek to have a great game against his former longtime team Green Bay Packers. For the youthful Packers, Jordan Love in the offense is on the rise, but the defense still leaves plenty of things to be desired. With Vegas and the Packers at times both stagnant on both sides of the football, this one should be a close. However, I'll take the Packers 33-24 in this one. That's all this week, folks, but as you can see, there is plenty more action to come. For TV2 Sports, I'm Pat Sartor. Now back to the news.
It's National Indigenous Peoples Day for many people in the country. How are they celebrating and what it means for the U.S.? While Columbus Day is a federal holiday, many states and cities are celebrating the day as Indigenous Peoples Day. It goes by National Native American in California and South Dakota, but it's otherwise known as Indigenous Peoples Day in many parts of the country. From helping the Pilgrims survive a harsh winter to speaking in a code that helped the Allies win World War II, Monday is a day to honor the contributions of Native Americans. It falls on the same day as Columbus Day as a way to honor the people already living in the country when Christopher Columbus landed in 1492.
And the beaches in Maui aren't exactly packed yet, but an active tourist economy is restarting in West Maui once more. You could hear the live music over the weekend as Hulu Grill, as outdoor diners flock to restaurants and to the beach in Whalers Village. The sight of boats and visitors on stroll taking photos of the sunset of the island, slowly recovering from the devastating fires that began in August.
It's really nice to see that Maui is doing better.
Oh, absolutely. It's really great just to see, a community come back.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm really happy that they are able to bring it back after all the fires that happened.
For sure.
But how was your fall break?
It was really great. Today is, Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day. I kind of wish it would have extended into today.
I know.
But for as short as it was, I had a great time. How about you?
I had an amazing time. I really enjoyed the break. I really needed a break, so that was good.
Absolutely. Did you do anything major?
No, not really. I just went with my friends. I just hang out with my friends, so it wasn't really a big deal. Well, but that's all the time we have for you tonight at 6. Thank you so much for joining us.
Make sure to follow TV2 News on social media at Kent Wired to stay up on the date with the latest. I'm Noah Rowe.
And I'm Nuried. Have a great night, Portage County.
This is Portage County's TV2, broadcasting from the campus of Kent State University. Streaming online at KentWired.